Imagine leading an army of 50,000 elite soldiers. Your enemy has only 10,000 men. Victory seems guaranteed. But just a few hours later, your entire army is surrounded. There is no escape. Thousands of soldiers are trapped, commanders are killed, and one brilliant strategy changes military history forever. This is the story of the deadly battlefield trap that defeated armies far stronger than itself, a tactic so effective that military academies still study its principles today. Throughout history, the strongest army didn't always win. Again and again, smaller forces defeated powerful empires not because they had better weapons, but because they understood one simple truth. Control the enemy's mind, and you control the battle. The most dangerous weapon on a battlefield wasn't a sword, a cannon, or a rifle. It was deception. Great commanders carefully studied the landscape before every battle. They searched for narrow valleys, dense forests, steep hills, rivers, and hidden paths. Every piece of terrain could become a deadly weapon. The goal wasn't simply to attack. The goal was to convince the enemy that victory was easy. Once the enemy believed they were winning, the trap was already closing. Some armies deliberately retreated, pretending to panic. Others abandoned camps, leaving food, weapons, and supplies behind to make the enemy think they had fled in fear. Excited by what looked like an easy victory, the pursuing army rushed forward, but they were charging exactly where the defenders wanted them. Behind hills, inside forests, and high above rocky cliffs, hidden soldiers waited in complete silence. The battlefield looked empty, but in reality, thousands of experienced warriors were already in position. The enemy believed they were hunting their opponents. In truth, they had become the prey. The commander knew he could never win in a direct fight. His army was smaller, his soldiers were fewer, his supplies were limited. So instead of relying on strength, he relied on patience. Scouts quietly watched every enemy movement from hidden positions. They counted the soldiers. They tracked supply wagons. They reported exactly when the enemy marched and where they planned to camp. Every detail mattered. The commander then chose the perfect battlefield. A narrow valley surrounded by steep hills. Dense forests covered both sides. There was only one easy road forward. To the enemy, it looked like the fastest route. In reality, it was the perfect killing zone. The smaller army disappeared into the hills before sunrise. Archers hid among the trees. Infantry waited behind massive rocks. Cavalry remained hidden behind the ridges, ready to strike at the perfect moment. Hours later, the larger army arrived. Everything looked abandoned. No defenders, no battle line, no resistance. Believing the enemy had fled, the commander ordered his troops to advance. Thousands of soldiers marched deeper into the valley. The front moved forward. The center followed. The rear continued entering the pass. Without realizing it, the entire army had stretched into one long column. Then, a single horn echoed across the mountains. Within seconds, hundreds of hidden soldiers rose from the hills. Arrows rained down from every direction. Massive rocks rolled onto the narrow road. The exits were blocked. Panic spread instantly. The army that had expected an easy victory suddenly found itself trapped. And the battle had only just begun. The trapped army tried to fight back, but every escape route was already blocked. The narrow valley left no room to form battle lines. Soldiers pushed into each other as confusion spread. Officers shouted commands, but their voices were drowned out by the chaos. From the hills, the hidden force attacked with perfect timing. Archers fired from above. Infantry charged from both sides. The cavalry struck the rear, cutting off the last chance of escape. Within hours, the larger army had lost its greatest advantage, its numbers. Instead of fighting together, small groups struggled to survive on their own. Many surrendered. Others abandoned their weapons and fled into the wilderness. The battle was over. The smaller army had achieved what seemed impossible. Its victory wasn't built on superior numbers or stronger weapons. It was built on planning, discipline, patience, and the ability to predict exactly how the enemy would react. This kind of battlefield deception has appeared throughout military history. From ancient civilizations to later conflicts, commanders repeatedly used terrain, surprise, and careful planning to defeat stronger opponents. Even today, military academies around the world study these principles. Modern technology has changed warfare, but strategy remains timeless. The greatest commanders know that winning a battle is not always about having the biggest army. It's about making the enemy believe they are winning, right until the moment they realize they've walked into a trap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this military history documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more incredible stories from history.